Let's, Anthony, can we pop on Alan Hahn in the next segment?
Yeah, this was a nice text from him, but I don't know if he wants this to go public.
Well,
his evaluation of Phil's call.
No, he just wrote actually, yeah, we'll pop on right now. He just said these callers are killing me. That's what I got. He sent a separate text, I believe.
Oh, you didn't get the one?
I don't think I got the one prior to that.
Here, just read this one. It's nice. This is the first sentence, tells you.
Hey, that guy Phil is a... that's not what you were saying.
That's all. I just didn't know if he wanted to own that, but I'd love to get his evaluation.
Yeah, I mean...
He's working to pray, right?
Of course he is.
Well, you
know what? Let's not wait. Let's get a quick moment with the great Alan Hahn.
Oh, he's there already?
Yeah, he's there.
Oh, look at that. Took us longer to get Andrew.
Alan, you don't think Phil could score 40 a game in the playoffs?
I love your show. You've had some winners calling in this show today. I mean, absolute winners. Like, I'm stuck in traffic in New York. I'm bouncing all around Manhattan trying to get to different places. Now I got to get to the Garden. So I'm listening as I always do. And I just couldn't take it anymore.
What's bothering you the most?
Alone, but I had to type.
What's the most annoying thing?
First of all, we're going to power rank these. The thing about the secondary score is like the most Captain Obvious thing anybody could ever say. We all know that Julius Randle's not there. We all know the guy who averaged 25, 10, and 5 is not available. So, yes, Captain Obvious, the Knicks have one guy that's a scorer, and a bunch. You had a caller, though, like a while back who hit it on the head. He was so good because he said it. Like, you know what you have. Role players who you're now asking, who are perfect role players, are now you're asking them to do more than what their role is because you're missing Julius Randle, and you do need somebody else to step up and provide secondary scoring when Jalen Brunson has to carry it. So we knew this going into the playoffs, but they are still a very competitive team, and so you see how far you can take this thing. That's number one. But number two, the Brunson thing. I mean, the call from Idaho, my God, have more potatoes, dude. Like, clearly you need starch because that might be the worst take I've ever heard in my life. You guys crushed it with the numbers about games 3 through 5. I'm glad you brought that up, Peter, because he has been otherworldly in the last 3 games. But overall, even, just take the whole series with the first 2 games being bad. Do you know if you take his numbers right now and line them up with Allen Iverson in the 22 games that he played in 2001, where it's same story. Their number 2 scorer that year was Aaron McKee. No, I don't even know who he is either.
No, I remember.
And he averaged literally the same points, same shooting percentage, and same shots per game. Like, sometimes that's just how it has to go, and where the Knicks are right now, that's where it has to go. He's doing what he has to do. The role players are trying to step up. This is not going to be easy. No one ever thought it was, but it certainly is a compelling series, and tonight's game is going to be more compelling. So please, my God, people, stop talking about secondary scoring and he's shooting too much. Killing me. I'm going to run into the Audi in front of me in a minute.
So first of all, Aaron McKee does not appreciate what you just did. It was wrong. It was hurtful what you did to Aaron McKee. But here's the thing. So it's a really nuanced conversation, in my opinion, because he's the reason they are where they are, and he is the guy they have to rely on to win this series. Simultaneously, though, did you feel a sense of frustration in overtime when it did feel like the only thing that was drawn up? It reminded me of the old Fresh Prince episode when the coach's every play was pass the ball to Will. Like, did you get frustrated that it seemed like, and Brunson talked about this, he described it as settling. It did feel like he was just settling for a 3. What would you have wanted to see them do offensively in overtime?
Well, it's a good question, and sometimes your best play is just give it to your best player, right? And this series is through 5 games. I was courtside the whole game. First half, what I started to see in that game was that neither team could run an offensive set because they know each other's plays. Everything got blown up. The score in the first half, I don't think touched 90 combined. Like, it was awful. Like, it was not a great offensive game, because 2 teams were just grinding each other out and blowing up each other's offensive sets. So what you started to see was Maxey and pick and roll, a lot of 2-man game with him and Embiid on one side of the court where you had to, who am I doubling? Because if I double this guy, then I'm going to get killed by that guy. And a lot of pick and roll with Jalen Brunson with some spray outs and the occasional 3 that when they hit a few, they'd get on a little bit of a roll. Overtime is where, yes, you said the only guy shooting the basketball is Jalen Brunson. Someone else needs to want to shoot the ball. Problem was, it didn't seem like anybody else did. That was the concern. And that does happen late in playoff games in crunch time with guys who aren't normally those guys. Maxey, Embiid, they're used to taking those shots in clutch situations. That's who they are. Brunson, yes. Anyone else on the Knicks? Not so much. And that is what was exposed. He took 9 of the, I think, 11 shots they took in that overtime. And he himself, on the turnover to Hartenstein, admitted he was kind of settling for a 3 there against Batum when he probably should have tried to probe for the tying bucket instead of, we're going to take the lead here on this 3. And Batum played great defense because, again, they're blowing up sets. That's what I saw. It is going to be frustrating because 6 games in, man, everybody knows what each other was going to do.
Now, do you think some of the mistakes and the foul shots, and then the 3 guys that played the whole game were missing some of the foul shots, do you think fatigue was a factor at all at the end of Game 5?
No, I don't. I mean,
how do you explain this then, Alan?
I think what Josh Hart said was a good thing. I think he's basically said we're conditioned to play 45 minutes because we've been doing it for the last 2 months.
So what's going on here? How about this then?
Missed.
Well, so here's the thing. So A, how do you explain this? And B, could this stat be the reason we're playing a game tonight? They shot 82% from the free throw line in games 1 and 2 and dropped off to 65% in games 3 through 5. If that stat is 75, 80%, Alan, we're waiting for Indiana or Milwaukee.
Yes. Yeah, you're 100% right. That is a big part of it. Free throw shooting was something I'm watching tonight. It was going to be one of my things to talk about in our pregame show because it is noticeable, the missed free throw. OG missed one too, nobody talked about late in the game. But Hartenstein has not been good at the free throw line. We all know Mitchell Robinson can't make free throws, and when he goes to the line, it's an adventure. Brunson has been uncharacteristically at times where he'll miss 1 or 2, and you don't expect it from him because he's generally a high percentage free throw shooter. But, Maxey also missed 3 straight free throws late in Game 5 that almost cost him the game. He hadn't missed one all series long. So I don't go with fatigue, boys. I go with pressure. I just think the moment when you get that late into a series where we're talking about elimination game and closing out a team, I just think everything gets a lot tighter. And so the shots are a little bit harder to make, and that's why those 1A high-end elite players, they still make shots. Role players might be a little harder for them even to make open jumpers. And I got DiVincenzo missed a ton of open shots in Game 5, and he's got to start making open threes because he is getting them, but he seems a little tight in this series.
I'll say this, and this is not rocket science. If one of these two things happen, if either DiVincenzo or Hart has a big night, or the Knicks just hit their free throws at above 80%, there's no Game 7. I really believe that's it. But if they don't make their free throws at a high rate and Jalen doesn't get a night from one of those 2 guys, I think we're playing a Game 7. Either way, Alan, you're going to do a wonderful job tonight on MSG starting at 8 o'clock. Thanks for making some time for us.
Love you guys.
Later, buddy. You too.
Love you too.
Great. I turned off my microphone. Didn't do it. The great Alan Hahn, ladies and gentlemen. All right, more of your phone calls next before ENN right here on 98.7 ESPN.